Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide is a friend on a slack real weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Wednesday. I hope all is well with the people. Coach, good morning to you, sir. Hope all is well.
Yeah, good morning, man. Yeah. What's the day? Wednesday?
I know, right? I had them days too. Shout outs to the poets, the writers, the content creators, all y'all. I gotta make sure I give y'all flowers, of course. You see the title. I shared this with the brother earlier. It just came across my timeline this morning. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do until I saw that, and then it was confirmed that I need to address this. So, you really got to stop idolizing and worshiping these people, man, because you really don't know who they are. You know, they entertain us. They provide us laughter and different emotions depending on what we're looking for throughout our day. You can just easily hit the remote control, turn something on, and bam, you got something to distract you from whatever's going on. And then we get so attached to these people, we forget that they ain't no different than us. They humans just like us. Well, this one threw me off a little bit. I'm gonna bring it up on the big screen. I'm gonna let it rock out.
Disney Channel star was arrested on Christmas Eve for child pornography charges, amongst other things. So this is Matt Prokop, and you might recognize him from High School Musical 3, Hannah Montana, and a number of other shows. Now, Matt has appeared in other shows like The Office, but his first really big role came when he played the character Zara in High School Musical 3. And for years, as he got older, Matt retained a level of celebrity because for years he was dating Modern Family star Sarah Hyland. Now, disturbingly, Sarah would go on to get a restraining order against her former boyfriend, Matt Prokop, because according to her, he was verbally and physically abusive. In 2024, Matt was arrested for allegedly abusing his girlfriend, and he was charged with aggravated family assault and resisting arrest. But on Christmas Eve of this year, Matt was arrested again. And initially, according to this reporting that I'm reading, Matt was arrested on Christmas Eve for violating conditions of his previous bond. However, somewhere along the way, I guess investigators found child pornography on some of his devices, or one of his devices, and that's why they've slapped him with this charge as well. He's currently being held in the Victoria, Texas jail without bail, meaning that he's been in there since Christmas Eve, and I don't know if he's going to be getting out anytime soon. Obviously, anytime you have a case where there's a former child star that is found with child pornography on one or more of their devices, that is incredibly troubling and disturbing, and we just don't know all the details yet about exactly what has happened here. But I will definitely keep you guys updated, so make sure to follow to stay up to date.
Your favorite rappers, your favorite singers, your favorite producers. Nobody is safe. Nobody is off the chopping block. A child star. The irony. Got all this stuff going on for him. You got the limelight. He got the people behind him. He had the girl. And even with all of his success, all of that money, all of that attention, that wasn't even enough to fulfill or satisfy whatever he had carnally going on internally. I sent this to you before we went on. How did you feel about this video?
I didn't feel anything, man. Nothing new under the sun. These things are coming to light, more and more every day. It just again shows, important role in parents, supervisory and lack thereof.
I'm with you, bro. I know you don't really be getting a fuck about some of this shit, but these things gotta be talked about, man. No, like for real, we gotta talk about this because y'all be crashing out over these people. Like folks really be in their feelings when you say something against their favorites, like, oh, you just hating, or you jealous, and you broke, and you just mad because you ain't got that lifestyle and you ain't this and that. What the fuck are you talking about? No, nobody's even talking or addressing. Oh, they got all these cars and these. Nobody's talking about that. We're addressing the fact that this is a fucking pervert. This man has, or this woman has some demons, or they got some issues going on with them that they need to be put in the spotlight, because either your children are watching them or you are advocating for them when you probably shouldn't. That's the issue here. It has nothing to do with the fact that they make millions of dollars. That's fine. If you earned it, nobody's hating on that. I have no issue with nobody who put in the work and the time to obtain that level of success. My issue comes when you are in a leadership role and you're leading people off the cliff. That's my problem.
Who's in the leadership role that you're talking about?
I'm referring to him specifically because of the story. Child star, made it big. The girlies like him. They crush over him. They want men like him because they think because of this right here. Forget the little caption that's on top of the picture. Before you even saw that, what you saw was a guy who has a nice haircut, clean shaven, all-American boy, whatever the hell you want to title it. They look at that and they say, oh, that's my ideal guy. he's this, he's that. Yeah, that's who I'm saying. You think that's a leader? That's who you think is a provider in the future? That's your archetype of man that you should be following behind? Do you think he grew up the way that TV depicted him? Everything ain't what it seemed. That's what I'm really talking about specifically. You know,
Yeah, I just was more focused on, you know, again, the parents' involvement. You know, the victims that he had, or the people that fell victim to, you know, like you mentioned his activities or his whatever you want to call it. I don't even know how to call it, but where the parents at in this situation? You know, how come nobody's talking about that, and how come they aren't being held accountable? So those would be the questions that I have. I mean, yeah, this stuff goes on, and I wouldn't necessarily refer to him as a leader. He's just somebody who's on TV, you know, somebody who gets paid. You know, he's a celebrity, but I wouldn't put him in the category as being a leader. But definitely, I would put more of the limelight on, you know, again, about accountability, because we keep talking about these celebrities, but where the hell are these parents at, you know, of the victims? How come nobody's identifying those things?
let's identify him. How does someone in his position manage to get access to that type of content? How does it end up?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, my bad.
How does it end up on the dark web? How is it that these kids are in a position where they can have these type of images circulating around on the internet?
Yeah, you know, we can't stop the internet. That's it's undefeated. In 2026, it's still undefeated. But you know, it's obviously something that had to start at an earlier age. I mean, you mentioned it, some type of illness. Might have suffered through some trauma himself. You know what I mean? So it's definitely some things psychologically there to talk about. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's still not a good thing to put them in the limelight and idolize these people. So you just hope people aren't necessarily doing that, even though we know they are. But you hope this provides some type of balance, humility, I guess. They're looking at these people, and like you said earlier, you know, everybody's human. Stop idolizing and worshiping these people. I mean, it's like you said, your favorite rappers. I mean, it's everywhere. You can't turn around, man, without this stuff popping up. So it's crazy, and everybody's still waiting on the redacted list of the Epstein's files. So it's probably only going to get even more sick and twisted out here.
Yeah, I don't know how you would have to be a horrible ass parent to where you don't know that your children, they're creating this type of content and putting it online, or you're not monitoring their devices well enough to know, and you should know, that there are ways to get people's intimate information off of these phones and these tablets just off of clicking on certain links that you shouldn't be touching. It is humbling. It's very humbling. It's very disturbing, because I see this and I'm like, all right, I already knew this was going on. I'm not really familiar with him, but when I hear it, I'm like, here we go. We got another one. So where's the parents? Did they know? How active are they? How present are they? Why aren't these conversations being had enough? And what do we need to do moving forward to make sure that this it's highlighted. Like it's not to say that everything is depressing and dark, but it's life. Like this is a reality that people try to avoid all the time, but you can't. It's here. It's in your neighborhoods. It's on your job. The Epstein files, they blocked out damn near everything. I'd be surprised if you see anything on there that incriminates specific people. And it's weird because like how is it that you can cover up all of their dirt, but you got all of these other stars getting exposed for their stuff? And what's the damage being done to these kids that's on the receiving end of this?
You see the what's the other guy? Timothy Busfield. He got locked up last night.
I just saw that.
Yeah, so possibly again, you know what I mean? This possibly for the same things, similar thing allegedly, but yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy. Everything is just getting exposed. Maybe it's people out there that's just getting tired of hiding and tired of keeping those dark secrets inside. And so, you know, they're just dropping dimes on people, slowly starting to identify, or maybe it's something that's eating them up because they're realizing that, you know, it's not necessarily the right thing to be doing. You know, who knows?
I think there's a group effort to conceal a lot of that stuff. If that whole Epstein situation don't prove anything, that folks who are participants in the same type of activities don't continue to move forward under the same agreement to keep these things under wraps. Somebody holds leverage over the other person and it's like, all right, well, you're not doing what I need you to do, so I'm gonna start telling on you and this, that, and the third because you ain't pay out or you ain't do this or do that. Then you decide now you want to have a moral compass, but nah, you trying to beat them before they get you first when you was really just as guilty as they are. Transparency is absent. Secrets seem to hold way more weight than being truthful because, I mean, there's a market for everything. And I didn't really go into the Busfield thing yet. I saw a clip where he say he turned himself in. And there was another one the other day I saw too. It was like, damn. This year is about to call out a lot of people. Does that change the way folks look at these folks moving forward? Are they still going to idolize them and still support them, even though you see what you see?
Hey, have you ever seen this movie? You probably haven't, right? It's and they got this guy in it. Goes by the name of Iron Man. Was one of the biggest crackheads, woman abusers, dope fiends, and alcoholics in the 80s. Now he's part of a $1 billion movie series called The Avengers. And actually he's coming out in a new movie in Doomsday. So I'm pretty sure you can do whatever the hell you want and they can rebrand you. And, you know, that's where those marketing campaigns come into play. And if you know about marketing, man, you know, most of it's psychological. So to know how people think, to know how you want to market to them. So in America, everybody loves a comeback story, right? From their favorite people, not from everybody. Everybody doesn't get a comeback story, but, you know, everybody likes to watch it on the big screen. So that way it feels like it gives them redemption. It feels like they can do something, that they too can come back. You know, we're selling people dreams here. So yeah, absolutely. People probably will still look up to them. Everybody, not necessarily saying everybody, but there will be some people, and they will have a comeback story, a redemption story. Just kind of like we talked about yesterday with the little breakup, the little divorce thing, you know, and that's why divorce rates 50% in America because that's part of the comeback story. So yeah, absolutely.
A part of me wants to believe he was groomed, or there was some trauma, something happened to him. Like you don't just come into this world and have a fixation for kids. Like that don't add up to me. Somebody touched him, or somebody around him made it okay for him to think it was okay to find kids interesting. Somebody around him was watching the same shit that he was watching or into, or he's seen something when he was younger with his family or someone in the business that was doing it. Like we kind of mimic, I think we can agree with a lot of people mimic people that they think are successful or look at as an idol, and they want to follow that catalog because it seems like it bears this positive fruit that's really not that. Is it trauma? Is it?
Yeah, so like you just said, right? Behaviors, patterns, we talk about it every day. This is just another way to analyze it. It's all about wordplay. You said somebody probably groomed him, or they could have mentored him. Same thing, right? And then it's all about that version or that what you deem to be success. Because if, like you just said, if you're looking to be in the same field as somebody, they typically would mentor or groom you to be in that field, or whether it's journeyman, craftsman, or whatever. And so it's the same concept. If you're being mentored, and then when you're not working, you go engage in extracurricular activities, whether it's at a golf course or a bar, or it's looking at some type of videos. You're a product of that environment, especially if you're at an early age where you may have been exposed, like you just said, or you're being mentored and groomed, and you could be told to be successful in this lane, in this path, along this journey. These are the things that you need to do in order to get there. And again, most of them are young, so easily manipulated, and they can play off if you have a past trauma, like you mentioned. Now that trauma can be used to energize and manipulate you to do whatever it is that I want you to do and that you believe you want to do.
I think there's a lot of foul play in Hollywood, a lot of it. So much so that the conversations are starting to become red hot. Orlando Brown, they think he crazy. They think it's drugs. And maybe some of it was, but I don't think that man was lying about a lot of the things that he spoke about. The way that they treat these stars, business wise, and all of those different things, man, it's clear that humans, regardless of how you perceive them, they are going to be humans. I don't know if he was like intrinsically modified by the elements or the people around him, or if it was just something he developed on his own. What I do know is that y'all need to be more careful with your kids and who they around, what they watch. Keep saying it. Everything is not for consumption. I can't even look at programs no more the same way. Everything I think about TV now is just like, damn, is there something subliminal in this shit? Like I'm laughing at it, but should I be laughing at it? It sounds educational, but is it really educational? are they weaving different things within their discussion that is probably programming me to think one way when it's really something else? It's hard to believe a lot of what I'm seeing anymore. Every time a story come out, somebody is on some real freaky P. Diddy type shit. Or it's someone who had a checkered past, they beat the odds. Like you had brought up, I can't even think of his actual government name, but Iron Man.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, him. Tim Allen was involved in some shit. There's a lot of people. And it's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't really be watching a lot of the things that we are watching now. Maybe it's time for us to change our programming. I need to just start scrolling and skipping past some of the stuff that I've been watching.
Yeah, if you've been consumed with what you watch on TV and if for some reason, you know, people think that they put good stuff out there for you to believe in and for you to watch, and you don't think it's predictive programming, and you're just now figuring it out today, you definitely should stop watching and consuming everything. And read a book. Stop investing so much in the fairy tale land on TV. Stop investing in these characters. And that's the crazy part is they make everything on TV so relatable. So now everybody's stuck to their favorite shows, especially with these reality TV shows. You know what I mean? And it's relatable because the people they're drawn to people that they act like, versus the TV shows that were unattainable, like A Different World and the Cosby Show, right? People aren't watching that today because people aren't thinking about, sitting down and doing those type of things. They're going to the bars, cussing people out, being belligerent, loud, obnoxious, all the things that they see on TV that they can relate to. And then it makes it easier to isolate and pick out people and make them prey for the predators. It's because you can see what they're yearning for, what they're looking for. They don't realize it, but they're giving up so much information by solely watching these TV shows and then going out in real life and on TV trying to, reenact these things. So it's definitely needs to be more concern put onto what you consume.
You think there's a chance that parents are being bought? Like
you had AAU basketball,
yeah,
and parents, football, Pee Wee League, they put everything they invest into their kids, hoping that they make it rich one day and they get them out of their situation. That's no different. It's just a different category. Everybody has their lane. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think some parents are out there saying that they put everything they had into getting you here. They took time off. They may have got fired from a job. Who knows what the parents go through that put their kids through sports, put their kids through theater, you know what I mean? And all those different things. So they may be approached, and depending on the character, the morals, the values of that individual human, they may be okay with some things. They may receive a little money for some things, until they get the end result and realize that wasn't actually what they wanted, either them or the child ending up getting hurt mentally or physically. So yeah, I definitely think there's some compromise going on. Just like, everybody's in outrage talking about the R. Kelly thing and all those girls. And then nobody really talks about, where were the parents? All this stuff was happening. So yeah, the parents get some of that limelight that they always wanted, because most of these parents are living vicariously through their kids. You know what I mean? So their kids are getting those things. The parents not necessarily have to put in the work, but they also reaping the benefits.
I think parents should be held accountable just as equal as the perpetrator. for some reason they get off. They don't really see the same ramifications. Like, my nigga, you are partially responsible for why your kid is the way they are, or why they were put in the situation that they in the first place. Because why? You wanted to meet R. Kelly, you wanted the tickets, you wanted the autograph. Like, the things that people will do to get next to another human being, man, that shit crazy. You'll literally sacrifice your family for shit. And then when the person get caught, y'all go to these lengthy trials. Y'all get up there and y'all cry, crocodile tears. You crying for your kids. You raising GoFundMe's and all this shit. But in all reality, you're probably a part of the problem, and you don't get no prison time whatsoever. I think parents that are found to be associated with it should definitely go to prison too, or there should be something where they are held responsible.
So they started doing that after all these mass shootings at these schools, especially when a lot of the kids wind up having the parents' weapons. So that's when they started lobbying those rumors of start to penalize the parent who didn't properly lock up the weapon in the house. I mean, that's the same concept. You're not going to school and necessarily shooting the school up, but you're causing that mental damage, and that's what I mean as far as for the same concept. By allowing them to do those type of things, allowing those predators to prey onto the kids and not provide proper guidance and structure around them. Essentially, now this person is going to jail, meaning both of them, the individual watching the film and what's his name, Buzzfield, that's allegedly got locked up last night. The damage that they do psychologically to their victims. So, it's irresponsible. And again, if the parents are allowing, or they're not necessarily as involved or have a strong enough support system around them to prevent it, then they definitely should be held accountable.
I wouldn't be able to sleep well at night, knowing like I had some type of part in that. I had a question. I'm trying to remember what it was. Damn. All this shit just fucked up, man. All of it's fucked up. I hate it. I hate stories like this. Jared from Subway is in jail right now for this exact same thing. It's like, do you not think you're going to get caught? You downloading and uploading all this shit to your device. Do you just assume that no one's going to catch or pick up on it? And that's another thing. As advanced as we are as a society, what you think they would be able to catch these people that are preying on these kids? You can monitor people from space. You telling me you don't have the technology to get notified when somebody is uploading some shit that they shouldn't be watching at their age, knowing it's illegal?
Yeah, I think based on the patterns, a lot of times, man, when they are monitoring, they're building a case. So they monitor, build a case, and then come get you. So that way, it won't be it's better to build a strong case against somebody versus it being a first time offense and only having one thing, if that makes any sense. So typically they'll build an actual case, so that way they can talk about one, leverage, or the two, talk about the psychological aspects and how there's an actual problem versus it just being a one-time offender and it was an accident type thing. So it's no different than They do investigations on the street. Same concept.
I get I accidentally typed this in one time.
Right.
But
And
two
then
and
watch
three,
it for an hour. You know what I'm saying? For research purposes.
exactly. Like, come on, my nigga. Yeah, we not doing that. It shouldn't take you 5 years to say, oh shit, we got 5 years of evidence, but it should only take one time or at least two. One is enough for me.
Yeah, but you know how it is, man. Especially depends on who's involved with what. You know, it might not be a first time offense. You know what I mean? It might have got away with it 2, 3, 4, 11 times. You know what I mean? And then depending on who was backing who, you know, it's all politics to it, man. So you know, when stuff typically comes out like that, it's pretty much it was the last case. You know, last ditch scenario. There was nothing else could be done. They probably exhausted all other options before. We'll never know.
Some people get exposed, other people are protected.
Right.
That's how this look like. It's just going to keep going.
It all depends on value. You know, what's your value? How much value do you have? You know, can I continue to monetize? Can I continue to use you? Or if you don't have any more value, then it costs more to cover up your tracks than it does to, you know, generate earnings off of it.
Yeah. What would you say to a parent that has young kids and they watch certain things on TV and you're trying to make sure that they're not being influenced by the wrong stuff?
Man, you sit down and have a conversation, you know, with your kids. Ask them what they're watching. You know, ask them, did they learn anything from it? Ask them to tell you about it. Hey, what did you learn? Oh yeah, you saw that. Did that make you feel anyway? You know, if they don't have any feeling towards it, then they're probably not even necessarily comprehending it. They're probably just watching it. But if they have some type of feeling towards it, then, you know, that's definitely, it's going to give you, that should give you a little bit of fuel to the fire to start asking more questions. And it's just about the follow up. You know, like a popular one is what, Rick and Morty. I don't know if that's still popular right now, but then you got a lot of older people that watch SpongeBob. So, you know, maybe sit down and watch an episode or two with them. You know what I mean? To see what's actually going on, and then do your research on what they're watching. You know, ever since we talked about Roblox, man, that shit's all over my algorithms, man. I can't shake it. But, you know, just as simple as that, if you saying that to say is, if you just inquire about something that they're watching, inadvertently, you're probably going to get educated because it does now be on your algorithms as well. So it's probably not a bad thing to have your algorithms sync with your kids' algorithms. You know, not necessarily saying you have to watch all the things that they do, but if you stay abreast to some of the things that they're inquiring about or they're being edutained about, entertainment, education, edutained, then that means, you know, you should be a little bit more abreast of what they have going on.
Child star. The more and more I see these stories, and yeah, I seen the Roblox lawsuit drink a few minutes ago. They really coming for them. They ain't playing with them. They need to keep the same energy for everybody though, not just them. But the more I see these cases, the more I accept the fact that everybody's not the same. There are some people who are really battling with some demons, man. And you got to stay prayed up. You got to stay actively in the book, whichever one that is that you open up. Mindful that just because you might move one way, that does not mean everybody does. And you have to be very aware of who you have around you, around your family, what you invite in, and stop pedestalizing people. That's it. Start pedestalizing people.
Yeah, I'll just say, because just to close out that roadblocks topic, is the reason why you got to be, educated. You got to be in a loop on all these platforms, is because they're all doing the same thing. Some of them probably just negotiate better than other ones, and then they pick one to make an example out of. That way, they can control the other platforms. So if Roblox is going down, you need to figure out what's the next hot one, because the kids will tell you, and then get ahead of that curve and start learning about the next platform that's getting ready to pop, because that's generally how it goes.
Yeah, that's crazy because they navigating through different television shows. So you get rid of one, they're just gonna go to something else, and they're gonna try to be more sneakier about it.
Pretty much, man. So again, that's why communication within the household is important, because if the open communication in the house is there, you won't have to really have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Because kids are naturally inquisitive. They're going to ask questions and they're going to want to talk. What happens is parents have a bad day, or they're just not in the mood, and they shut them down. And then eventually the kids don't engage with the parents anymore with the communication, or share the new things that they have, the excitement of the things that they've experienced and learned. Now they're finding sanctuary within these discords. Now they're communicating with somebody with a headset, because the people in their house don't really give a shit about what they want to talk about. So, you just have to be careful when you push them away, you shoo them away. Even if you do follow up 10, 15 minutes later, and let them know that you still want them to come back, share their day, have communication, open dialogue. That way you teach them to be open-minded and how to have that communication, and not only communicate VFR direct with who's in that headset.
We'll see it. Whatever sentencings conclude here, let justice be served. You put yourself in that position, sir. And I matter of fact, I remember what my question was. Then we can close out with this. Is there any way that a person accused of these type of, or is found guilty of these type of allegations, is there reform? Can they go back into the general public a different person?
I think there's rehabilitation for everything, but I also think without structure, without discipline, and without accountability, you can easily relapse and fall back into your old patterns of what you've done. And that's why it's so hard, to change and become a better version of yourself. And that's what that entails: self-evaluation, self-reflecting, and an accountability system. So if you start to revert back into those old ways, what's your next instinct? It should be to do whatever it is that you have designed to stop you from doing X, Y, and Z. Right? It's the same way as consuming alcohol, drugs, sex addicts, whatever the case that you're addicted to and you're an addict of. You gotta have those remediation steps, and you gotta have that discipline and that accountability to stop you from taking those 2 steps back.
Okay. Well, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families, the victims, the actual victims, not anyone who was in on the activities that were allowed to happen, but the ones who actually got their images out there for the world. Like, that shit is crazy. There's kids, their videos, their pictures they're in the internet forever and shit. Like, that right there is fucked up to me. You didn't volunteer for that. and it's, I don't know, that is a special place for people who monetize off of that. If you go to jail because you put yourself in jail. That goes for the other gentleman we just spoke about as well. 2026 is going to bring out more of them. I'm waiting on them to call a woman out. I'm waiting on it. I know it's going to happen. They're being protected way more. I don't know who, but I'm just going to be like, yeah, you did come off kind of weird. Yeah, I could see it. But I digress, man. Appreciate you for being here this morning, bro. You have a blessed day, and shout outs to the people that tapped in this morning. Y'all take it easy, stay warm. Do me a solid before y'all go, if you don't mind.
What's the goddamn button?
Peace.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide is a friend on us like real weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones